What's going on, guys? So today we have a 120 millimeter cloud donut for the Meepo Awd Pro, and it also works with all the other models as well. Pretty much the same thing. It's a DIY, right? But certain models only require 2 instead of 4. So I did post this in the Meepo chat. A couple of you guys asked, how did I install it and if I could do a video. So I'll be doing a video of how to build this, right? And how to turn, obviously, let me open that up. And how to turn, essentially, this wheel into this wheel. There's a video on YouTube, but I found that guy kind of put a lot more work into it than what you really have to. I found a little bit of an easier way, and yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna get started and I'll show you guys how I did it. All right, guys, so here we are, my little setup area, I guess you could call it. We've got the Awd Pro here. We already got one wheel off. As you know, I've already created one just to test out the process and see how it would be. All right, I got all my spare parts here. Whatnot, these are brand new sleeves, so when I take these ones off, I still have the option to go back if something were to happen. Now, the main tools I'm going to be using is very simple. Don't mind the hatchet. I couldn't find my hammer, but essentially you need a hammer, and this is what I'm using for my hammer. Flathead screwdriver, right? You're basically going to be prying right here, and you're going to pry that up, and a drill bit. And there's about I think a 1/8 drill bit I have on the end of that. And basically, you're going to be drilling just beside the actual screw holes, but not on the metal piece, right? You're going to be on the rubber. So that being said, I got to take the wheels off, and we can get started. And just for the record, guys, if you're riding a Meepo board, or any skateboard, for that matter, get some spare parts. I see a lot of y'all posting about, this broke, that broke. It's like a car. You don't want to leave yourself short, right? Every car has a spare tire, maybe a tire iron, or some tools in the back, something. You never want to leave yourself short. It's just like a skateboard, right? Thing has motors, it has wheels. Well, I got extra parts, extra hub wheel there, some extra battery packs. Got my extra sleeves, some shredders, and, other Meepo stuff over there. But for the most part, it's always good to have extra parts. All right. Got it unscrewed. Pull it off. Mind you, I have not opened this ever, actually. I've opened a few sleeves just to check some things, but this is one I have not opened in 6 months. Right, and that's 6 months of riding in sun, rain. I live in Canada, so I ride in the snow sometimes. I use this to get to work. But as you see, nice and clean. No cracks on the magnets. A couple scratches on the, I guess you could call that a rim. I'm not sure what they call that, but for the most part, the hub wheel seems intact. I don't smell any moisture buildup. I don't know why I smelled that. Yeah, take care of your boards. As you can see, all the hub motors look okay, right? You're gonna want to dust them off, check for rust, maybe put some lubricant on it, proper lubricant. Don't just get any oil, you fuck your board up. But for the most part, check on your hub wheels. And after that, they're all off, and we are now gonna drill them and remove the polyurethane. All right, guys, now that the sleeves are off, we checked them for cracks. They look okay, and they look like we can use the metal safely. We're now going to remove the polyurethane. So I'm going to start with my drill. And as you see, right, there's the hole right there. That's for the screw hole. You want to drill like right beside it, just on the rubber. So now that we have the sleeve here, right, you're going to see the first hole that I drilled. Right, there's a screw hole that mounts your wheel to your sleeve, and then right beside it, right in the rubber there, like you kind of see the little tooth there that sticks up. That's where I drilled. Right, you're gonna want to drill a straight hole down. Right, remove that. And then just beside it, you're going to want to drill another hole. Right. So we have 2 holes there. And then just in between those 2 holes, we're going to do one more. So we're going to do it right there. Okay guys, so now that I have the hole drilled, I got my flathead here, and I got my hammer up here. Not a hammer, obviously, it's a hatchet. So I'm going to basically wedge the flathead down between the urethane and the metal. Okay, once it's in there, I'm gonna get some of my weight on that and slowly start prying. And then you hammer it some more. Right, I'm prying the urethane. Now you got to get your weight like right on this. All right, the first little bit to start is tricky, but once you actually get it going, you'll be able to hammer it some more. Right, zoom in there a little bit. So you see the urethane, it is kind of disconnecting. You want to make it disconnect all the way around as a whole. Right. Now it is tricky. Okay, it's a lot of work, like I said, but it's easier to do it this way than to cut it in chunks. All right, now to further get it in there, sometimes to start it, it'll be a little difficult to start to get the polyurethane to detach from the metal. I'm gonna drill some more holes here. Basically, I'm creating a couple weak spots, and then we're going to try and stick this down further. Like I said, it is a tough job because they got the polyurethane on there good. Alright guys, so it looks rough, I know, it is some hard work. But essentially, once you have that pried up, you could actually take an X-Acto knife and you want to basically detach it from the metal. Right, so you're just going to slide it across, right, chiseling away at it. But once you have a corner up like that, as soon as you get past this tooth and get this side up, it actually starts to unpeel a lot easier. But like I said, it's getting that first part up, it's a pain in the ass. You know, it I can't explain how much of a pain in the ass it is. But once you have the 2 corners up, basically, the rest becomes a lot easier. All right, so we worked our way a little more, and as you can see, I'm just past the first tooth, and it is getting a little easier. So let's continue. Right, and as you can see right there, right where that knife pierced, right, it's starting to come up, and you just want to further it through. Right, as we can see, slowly getting there. So basically, I'm going to grab my knife now, you know, pry it up a little more, A little more wedging there. And slowly it'll come up. As you can see, guys, we're making it to the next tooth. So we're about a quarter way around. Again, it looks messy, but you'll see afterward. Clean it up nice. Alright guys, so as you can see, we're about halfway done. And you can see right where I got the tip of the screw there, it's kind of coming off a little neater than over here, right? And that's what I was trying to show you guys. It's when you start the first part, like over here, it's gonna be rough at first, right? You're trying to wedge this in there, you're trying to get it started, right? But once you actually get past this, the first and second tooth, it starts coming up fairly easily. There, because I left it a hole, it's coming off smooth, and there's no chunks that are being left on the metal. Now the metal is scratched up, that's okay. You can sand it off and smoothen it off after. And I'm gonna go on this side too. As you see, it's also coming off smooth, but it's also getting a little neater looking. All right, there's the metal. And then I'm gonna go over here now. All right, I've gotten past the third stud there. And as you see, it's also coming off smooth, nice and neat. And that's what happens when you leave it as a hole. Basically, it's like an elastic, right? It's helping you peel it, I guess you could say. And the drill gets your flathead in there. So when a wheel goes good, your drill bit will actually do you the favor, and it'll separate the polyurethane from the metal for you, making your job a lot easier instead of you having to pry it up with a flathead. And I'll show you how it works. As you see, it slid across there, but if you look in the gap, it is like fully separated now, like cleanly too. So now you can take your flathead per se, and you can actually wedge it in there, and if you look in, you'll see it is a clean separation. So yeah, just FYI, that's what an easy wheel looks like. A hard wheel is you gotta chisel it away. But so, to make this side a little easier, right, we've done the full circle on this side, so we're gonna flip it over. If you wanna make it easier to pry, make some weak spots with the drill bit. Right, do a couple right there. Do some right there. Watch your hand. And if you do a bunch of holes, when you go to pry, it'll actually get a little easier for you. You know, you're kind of creating weak spots for your flathead to get in and underneath there a lot easier. So now that I have wedged off the polyurethane in the complete circle, what I did was I grabbed a steak knife and I cut a slit. Mind you, it's hard. Like, look at that. You gotta really get in there and you gotta watch your hand. But after you've made the slit, peeling, as you see,
it's like an orange,
is a little easier, right? And then basically you're still gonna be doing the same thing, but it's not as hard, as you see. Yes, it looks messy, but mainly most of the polyurethane will come off cleanly. I mean, here it looks messy because that's where we started with the drill, but over here it should be a lot smoother once we get around the circle. After that, obviously you're going to be left with the metal. You're probably going to want to sand some of the scratches and, you know, the rough edges, smoothing it out a bit, and then we can install it into the actual Cloudwheel. I'm prying. It's starting to come off a lot easier now. You're going to hear ripping, and that's okay. That's the urethane being pretty much ripped off. That's all it is just prying. And as you see, we're getting through there. A little bit of a rough spot there, but we'll get that off. But now it's over here, as you see, a little smoother looking. Get our screwdriver in there. Keep wedging it, and eventually you'll make it through. So as you see, guys, at long last, this wheel was pretty rough, I will say. My other wheel didn't have too much of that leftover polyurethane like this one does. But as you see, Once you get a good chunk up, you can slowly kind of start peeling it around like an orange. What I did was I would put my knee here. I would hold it open and grab a knife if you can, and slowly just cut it, you know, around and peel it. It helps you. That's also why there's still probably a layer of polyurethane, because the knife isn't going to get it clean off. But rip that. Once you get it off, that's what you'll be left with. Now this you can clean up. You're gonna grab sandpaper and maybe a chisel and get all that off, sand all that off, and then the gouges from the drill bit, that's okay. Sand it off, right? As you see, the teeth are still intact all the way up. There's nothing wrong with the magnets on the inner part, right? Nothing is broken. We just gotta clean it up and make it look nice. So I'm gonna get that and we will continue. All right, guys, so we're coming near the end of the product here, and you know, you can see there's still a little bit of polyurethane still stuck to it. Now I'm going to show you some guys, or I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks here you could do. Now, obviously, you could sand it off, right, and you get it clean like that. To get the stuff that's in the corner there, you could chisel away with a flathead. You can sand it off. You can try, you know, cutting it off. But what I do is I get the drill, right? I use the drill bit, and I kind of, you know, drill in there with the side of the bit, and it actually kind of rips it out and gets it out a lot easier than chiseling it, right? Like right there, there's some grip in there. I'm just gonna stick the drill bit in there. I got one hand here, but yeah, there's many different ways to remove it. Like I said, it's gonna be a stressful process, but once it's pretty much fairly removed, you're gonna give it one final sand just to make it smooth, smooth out the edges, and then I will show you guys how to install it in the actual Cloudwheel. This is the metal piece that we've been trying to retrieve from the hub sleeve. And let me tell you, it was some work getting this out of that. But now that we've done it, basically what I did was once I removed it, I sanded it down. You know, I got in the little, in the corners of the metal stud there, made sure that was all cleaned out properly, right? There's gonna be a little bit of like residue from the polyurethane. That's okay, providing that as long as you sand it down nice and flat and flush with the metal, you'll be okay, right? You see our metal studs, you know, they're a little scratched up from the process, but they're still intact, right? And they're still gonna do what they need to do once we insert them inside the Cloudwheel, right? So that's the next step. We have our Cloudwheels right here. Mind you, I actually accidentally ordered the wrong set, so they had to send me a separate package with the proper pieces inside. Okay, so here we have the Naked Cloud Donut, right? We have our piece that we took out of the hub sleeve, right? Magnets are still intact. Everything looks good, sanded out. The metal studs are all okay, a little scratched up, but like I said, that's okay. It's not like you're gonna be seeing that, and the studs aren't broken in any way, which means they can still function. Now, getting it in the wheel is simple if you know what you're doing, or it can be tricky, right? So there's two pieces that are gonna hold the metal hub part inside the donut firmly. Right? One piece has very thin stud holders. Well, the other half of the piece has a little bit thicker stud holders, right? The holders are going to be holding the stud, right? Which essentially is going to hold this properly in place. We know that one side looks thicker, one side looks thinner. Another thing, right? We know this is the side that faces outward on your board. We also know that because the words in the line are on the donut here, that this is also going to face outward. So we know that this needs to be inserted, you know, like this. Now, getting this in, you want to start with the thick side first. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So we're going to flip this over. Actually, yes, we're going to flip this over. The thick side's going to go on this side. So thick side first. Now that you got the thick side in, you want to take, obviously, the insert, the metal insert, right? This is the thick side, but that's not going to go in first. You want to go in thin first, because we also know that this side has to go facing on the same side as the words on your donut. So we know this is going down, right? So we're gonna go thin side first. You're just gonna insert it. You're gonna push it, right? Just until it's flush with the plastic. Then you're gonna flip it over. You're gonna grab this plastic piece, right? We know that's the thin side, and we know the thin side is now facing out. You're gonna put that in there. You're gonna give that a push. Now that you have inserted it, essentially your donut is half done, right? Now you wanna grab your little screws here that they send you. Your screws, your bolts, right? And then this is the new face cover, right? And we know that the face cover covers this part of the sleeve, right? Like I said, it was supposed to face the same side as the words. So you're also gonna be putting that there. You're gonna line it up with the holes. Get your holes lined up. Drop those out, right? So it's gonna contain a tiny screw with a lock washer. Go ahead. That's gonna lock your wheel in place and also lock the face mount on as well. That looks very fresh right there. And you screw away. Screw in that last one right there. Right. After that, you have a Cloudwheel donut. Mind you, that was hard. And there you have it, guys. 4 Cloudwheels to put on this AWD. Don't mind the dirt, I gotta clean it off. Little friend here decided to help me. I do not ever want to touch another cloud donut in my life again. As fun as that was extremely hard. Only 2 wheels went nice and smooth, and the other 2, they were hard. I'm glad they're done though. We're gonna install these onto the board. I'm gonna clean her up a little bit. All right, guys, so as you can see, we got the first 2 cloud wheels on the board here. All right, everything looks good. Oiled up, a lot bigger. I left the other 2 on. I'm gonna show you a quick size difference. Front end's a little higher up, right? Not a crazy distance, but 20 millimeters. It's a decent distance, right? Because now there's a little more room under here, so I can pass over a little bit of bigger bumps, I guess, right? And yeah, so we're gonna get the back wheels off now and get those other 2 cloud wheels on. And there you have it, guys. An AWD Pro with the Cloudwheel 120 donut. Runs great. Looks good too. Very nice. Cleaned her up, put some more caulking on to avoid water damage. Yeah, those are some nice wheels. Wow, just look at that though.